Hey, this is Steven from TheLegitPC, and welcome to Sniper Elite 3 review. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the video options here. Now, this game is very fun, but it is very unoptimized. You need very, very powerful hardware. Even with my even if my i5 3570K and my 660 Ti, I was only able to play most of the time with 20 frames per second on single player and multiplayer. And 20 frames per second is barely playable. Well, it went up to like maybe 26. I think I rarely ever touched 30. So you do need very powerful hardware to run this engine. This engine is very, very heavy, but you can get really, really good texture quality if you have really, really powerful hardware. But there are some weird, very weird texture stuff going on, like textures flickering, this and that. So you do want to be on the lookout for that. As it's very hard to play with a really perfect game engine in a sniper game, especially when you have a sniper versus sniper multiplayer, because you cannot see when somebody's moving, because you could have a texture that's flickering right where he's at, or something that is very distracting. I think I had to further drop these specs in order to get a good texture quality. So here's a little look at the engine. This is one of the maps. I just went through a little bit on this map. But as you see, at 99% usage, I'm not even getting 30 frames per second. And the texture quality is good. I mean, the game engine looks great. It doesn't perform that great, but the game engine looks perfect. And I have it exactly 26 frames per second is definitely playable on this game. You don't really... It plays very well on low frames per second. So that's good for people with lower hardware. It will work out for you plenty. So here's another portion. So I tried to get as much of true to the gameplay as possible. So I have about 20 minutes of footage. If you guys want to see more footage, go ahead and check out my day 1 of single player and my day 1 of multiplayer. I do have some multiplayer footage in this video. And then at the end, of course, we're going to go to the conclusion. So of course, Sniper Elite is probably the best sniper game out there. There was Sniper 2 Ghost Warrior, which did run on the CryEngine. It did look pretty good, but this one is more true to that, more true to you know, how it works and everything like that. But if you do want to play a modern sniper game, then Sniper 2 Ghost Warrior is probably the game that you want to play. So this is very true to how the gameplay is. You do have to, you know, spec out the locations. And here you see some bullet time that you probably saw a lot inside of the day 1. And there are a variety of different hardness levels. So you can get to where there's no drop and that everybody's very, very aware of where you are. I think I played it on like the harder option. So it does get difficult at some points, but there is a lot of gameplay. Let me go ahead and check to see what I had on the time of playthrough on this. But I think I had at least 10 hours, and I got maybe 4 levels in. So there's the main level, there's this level. Yeah, so I think I got about 4 levels in, and I have 10 hours on. Including the day 1, of course. You see there, it does have a couple glitches that, like, the bullet will go over their head and but it'll still hit. So it does have some glitches. It does have like some texture flashing. It's not super perfect, but it's definitely one of the funnest games I've played in a while, and it's definitely one that you should check out if you like sniper games or sniper multiplayer games, and as well as you could play just all out with a Thompson or whatever. Here's another example of being true to the gameplay. There's a lot of sneaking around crouched in this game, as the AI is very, very sensitive and very, very difficult. If you run, a good, football field away, football field and a half away, they will hear you running and come and investigate, which you could use for your advantage, so it could be good and bad. But overall, very, very good gameplay, very, very good missions. It has a lot, during the missions, it has a lot of side objectives. So if you want to do a quick run through and get the story, then it will work. If you want to do a longer playthrough, which is what I did all the side objectives and things like that. It'll definitely add like maybe 3 times more time to the game, because each side objective, to complete one of those side objectives, depending on what it is, could take you as long as it would take you to run through the whole mission. And the maps are very, very large. So probably one of the biggest maps I've played on a single player game. It's more open. They give you an open landscape, and you could go at your target any way that you want, which is very, very good in a game like this. Like I said, this is very true to the gameplay. You walk around and you target enemies, and then you go about trying to snipe them. Here I get found out later on in the video, and that's what happens. I died a lot, or I restarted a lot in this game, but it's all part of the game. Sometimes you get very, very frustrated with having to do something and they keep seeing you, or you accidentally saved in a spot that got you stuck. It happens. Or you didn't notice somebody was there, which you'll see here in a second. I didn't notice this guy was sitting right there, and I killed the guy right in front of him, so it causes a problem. Yeah. There's a little bit of a look of using the side weapons. Yeah, overall a very, very fun game. The story, I didn't really follow along too much with the story, and you probably won't either. It's the standard story of you're trying to find one of the Führer's, one of Hitler's side guys. So you're going through the Africa campaign, the African frontier, in order to find him. So you go through all these missions looking for details. I think the best part is definitely the maps that you play on are for sure very, very good. As well as the bullet time. The bullet time is also very, very good, and even though right now I'm only playing on 23 frames per second, it definitely does not look like that. I'm sorry that you could hear my mic in these videos, because Shadowplay by default is capturing my audio so I can do my day ones, so I don't get rid of that audio when I do when I do footage that I'm going to put in my reviews. So it's definitely the best game so far that I've played in summer, or that I can remember. And I might even continue playing it till I'm finished. Let me just say that again, I definitely did not finish this game. I think there's a lot more gameplay, and also I pre-ordered it, so I also get extra missions and stuff. So I definitely did not play all the way through to the very end of this game. So definitely one of those games to pick up if you get a if you find it for a good deal. Or if you don't, it's probably worth the full price of the game, depending on if you're a fan of the previous ones in the series. I don't know how much this one stacks up to the other ones, because I think I only played the first one briefly. Here you see another glitch, a weird glitch. So it's definitely got its fair share of glitches. But it has these cool little segments every once in a while in the game where you have these types of segments where you just have all-out sniping and stuff.
He's on the move.
Overall, very, very cool. So so that campaign is definitely one to check out, and I think that there's a lot more gameplay that I haven't got to yet, even after 10 hours. So maybe 18 hours of gameplay, or less, I don't know, or more. I'm not sure how many missions there are. Okay, so here's some multiplayer. There's a very sad thing about the multiplayer, though, is if you do get it, by the time you probably bought it, the multiplayer will most likely be dead. I tried to play it earlier yesterday, and I only saw one server that was populated, so there was only 12 people in the entire game playing at the time. And I believe these are not server based. These are not dedicated servers. These are all lobbies. So someone started the game and they are hosting it. I'm pretty sure. Because if you go on to the multiplayer, you have an option of starting a game. So here, of course, the biggest thing in the multiplayer is you see the flashes of people's scopes and stuff, and that shows you where they're at. And you see there the texture flashing that I was talking about. Provides quite a bit of distraction, especially when you have a long distance sniping game. You really need to have the engine perfect with that type of drawing distance. So you see there that texture is still flashing. It's clipping with something. But overall, very, very cool multiplayer. It's definitely not one of those fast multiplayers, as each game I think that I played lasted about 30 minutes per game. And it's a lot of exactly how you see. This is very realistic of what the multiplayer is. Sitting there for 6 minutes, for 5 to 6 minutes is sitting on a roof. And you might see somebody like I did, or you might not. And it works the coolest thing is that it works very, very similar to the campaign, is that you could spot people and all your friends know where they're at, and you see there's also extra guns that you don't get on the campaign. Like, that's an MP44. And also it has that extra bonus if you check out my my day one of multiplayer. It has that bonus of the longest sniping distance. And whoever gets the longest sniping distance has their name put up there briefly and says, new longest sniping distance. So here I'm asking how you tag an enemy. See, you saw that flash right there. So that's showing where one of the enemies are. So you definitely have to be very aware. It's a lot, and I saw another flash over there to the right. I guess I never really investigated that. And there is another shot. So I think in all the multiplayer I played after the day one, which I played like maybe 5 games, I maybe got like 5 kills in all those games, and I probably spent about an hour and a half playing and only getting 5 kills. So it's definitely not one of those Call of Duty games where you get a lot of kills and things like that. It's definitely one that you play slow and you play as a team. You know, you spread out and you look for the enemy and you cover all possible sides to get to the enemy. So it's, I guess it kind of doesn't really play to my style because I started out with Call of Duty, so it definitely has has a learning curve to it, you know, just running in and shooting people. But you probably saw that with Sniper 2 Ghost Warrior, that, you know, snipers aren't always my cup of tea because of that waiting type segment. Especially, this is definitely not a game that you would play if you have to go to work in 10 minutes. Not really the game for you. Because you need definitely more than that. You might not even get a kill before you have to go to work, or you have to go to school, or wherever you have to go to. So here's another segment. This is a separate game on the same map. And there's another kill, luckily for me, and then new longest shot. Luckily for me, all of them are spawning right in that house. Also, I need to mention that all the ranks that you unlock and all the things that you unlock in the campaign can be used inside the multiplayer. So there you saw I had a flash hider. I got that from in the campaign. So this is the last piece of footage I have until I jump into the conclusion. I went right past him there. So this is a lot of what the campaign's about. You know, I mean, not the campaign, the multiplayer. Is you look around and try to find somebody to shoot at. That's definitely a long shot, 208 meters. So hopefully it stays alive because of, you know, the franchise's history. Hopefully it stays alive and the campaign comes back. Definitely a very, very cool game to play online. I might even like it more than Sniper 2 Ghost Warrior. But definitely something to check out. And I joined towards the end of the game, of course. We are down by a lot. We're down by almost 2,000. As we are blue team and they are red team, and it says it right there underneath the 987. That's the score for their team. Alright, so now let's go ahead and jump into the conclusion. So the conclusion is that this game is definitely a cool game to check out. I really enjoyed it, and I like the setting, but I probably would have liked it set in Germany more, but, you know, it's a new setting. They've previously done Germany, I believe, twice. So this is fine, I guess. The colors definitely makes the game very, very good, but it has a lot of setbacks. So probably if you don't have the best hardware, this game is probably not for you. So if you don't have something that's of my speed, is 660 Ti at least, then you'll probably not be able to play this game very well. The textures will have to be so low, and you'd still only get 25 frames per second. But it played very, very well for me. For 25 frames per second, the game still looked really good, and it still played very, very smoothly. No problem with it, as you don't really need something that's got that fast frames per second if you're crouched most of the time and looking through a scope. Otherwise, it is a very, very tedious single player. A lot of crouching and walking around and spotting enemies, because if you spot enemies, it's extra experience. So a lot of spotting enemies, timing your shots with one of those motors, as it dampens the sound of your shot. So it's a lot of waiting. So like maybe you'll get one shot off every minute and a half. You know, a lot less than your average Call of Duty shooter. So definitely a lot of things to think about, and probably by the time you get it, the multiplayer might be dead, as when I played it during a normal time, like 5 or something like that. There was nobody on. But yeah, it's definitely worth it if you could play multiplayer. The multiplayer is really, really cool. I don't know how much they're going to be into creating DLCs for it. I know they already had a DLC from the start, but extra multiplayer maps and things like that. If Rebellion keeps going with it, it might keep the multiplayer alive with new maps and guns and stuff, and character skins, whatever. All right, so yeah, definitely a game to take a look at and pick up if you're into the Sniper Elite series, and if you're into snipers and sniper rifles and stuff. Also, World War II buffs, the African campaign, people that are into something like that, probably definitely the game to check out. But yeah, so a lot of gameplay, very, very cool multiplayer, very, very slow. So if you're not into the fast-paced multiplayer games like Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever, then you could pick up Sniper Elite. It's a lot slower game. Games last a lot longer, have a lot more time to plan your shots and to actually shoot once, one shot, one kill type thing. All right, so I guess that's about it. So very, very cool game. Check it out. Link will be in the description. If you can find it for a good deal, go ahead and jump on it. And hopefully it still has a multiplayer experience left when you get to it. Alright, so it's been Steven from TheLegitPC. I'd like to thank you for watching this video of the review of Sniper Elite 3. If you like this video, please subscribe for more. And if you're looking for some more footage of what you're getting into with this game, check out my Day 1 of Sniper Elite 3 for his campaign, and check out my Day 1 for Sniper Elite 3 multiplayer. Alright, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Peace.